Alright, what's up AVP, or what's up Mr. Gotti? This is my bad movie presentation, and this is backwards, isn't it? Yeah, it's fine. This is my bad movie presentation. So, I decided to do mine over Radio Rebel. So this is an old Disney film made in 2012, and the reason I chose to watch it was because Debbie Ryan, the main character, has just been torn apart and dragged on Twitter, on every single meme website, on Reddit, on everything, just because this smirk of her has resurfaced. And I thought it would be funny to put myself through the pain of watching the movie just so I can cringe at this face that she makes. So the summary of the film is that there's this girl named Tara. She lives a double life. You know, she goes to she goes to a high school, but she also runs a radio show or a podcast. And the whole movie, there's really no major plot. The plot really only, takes a climax or takes a dramatic turn whenever there's towards the end. But throughout the movie, the basic concept is that she's trying to, she's going through a crisis of whether or not to keep her identity or reveal that she is in fact Radio Rebel. And obviously the antagonist is named Stacy, also known as Becky, as Tracy, as Brittany. And she obviously has a thing for the guy Radio Rebel likes, which is Gavin. So the introduction or the title sequence is really the first thing that stood out to me as bad. This movie is known and perceived as cringe. And yeah, it is. And yeah, it was, directed towards a younger audience, 10 to 12-year-olds, or maybe younger than that. But regardless, it should still. That's no excuse for this to be a really bad film. So I guess I'll show you the clip and then I'll talk about it later. So this stood out. This was the first thing that the audience sees. Let's hope there's no ad. Okay, I'll skip ahead.
For labeling each other. Jocks, outcasts, dorks, queen bees and their fellow pups, and newborn pups. Guys, these are all labels, not who we really are. Once upon a time, being different was a good thing. Now those differences just divide us.
Okay, so that's enough of that. So basically, this is the first thing that the audience sees. And I don't like this negative space or this black space that they have created. I mean, they're not filling it in with anything else. They have the margins of the videos moving.
You deserve to embrace your awesomeness.
Like that. But, I mean, they're not doing anything with the black. And really, the only thing that they're doing is putting red text on it, which is it would be nice if it was simple, but I don't understand what's the point of having the black bars move in and out when they're not going to do anything with that. And so it kind of just gave me a headache. I mean, it really didn't do much or make it look professional or anything like that. And also the voiceover at the beginning is supposed to be one of the episodes of Tara or Radio Rebel. I mean, they are the same person, of her podcast. And I feel like voiceovers could go two ways. Either a nice way to introduce something, but it could easily turn into, it could be perceived as a very lazy way to introduce a film, or to, a fast pass to not having to film any background information. But I don't enjoy having a voiceover at the beginning of a film. It's not very eye-catching to me. And I mean, these are just shots of people. I didn't think that they were very interesting or eye-catching, and I mean, if I didn't have to watch this movie, I probably wouldn't have kept watching. So let's go back. yeah, the voiceover again is overdone, and you know, they could introduce a film a better way. So the costume design also was pretty bad. I feel like they spent a lot of money on the costume design. There was a disgusting amount of fedoras, like too many fedoras to count, way too many fedoras. Um, they had like each character wearing 17 layers of clothing, and yeah, this film was made in 2012, but that's not. There was no cultural reset that really changed the way people were dressing from 2012 to 2020. So I don't really understand why. Well, actually, yeah, I guess, but like each character didn't need to wear a vest and a long sleeve striped t-shirt to establish that they were in high school. I mean, but regardless, again, it is for a younger generation or a younger audience. The casting was not terrible. The acting was pretty cringe. Debbie Ryan is not a bad actor. I just feel like she needs to pull herself out of this like high school Disney show character, very cringy, like child character that she's like built for herself. And I feel like she needs to get into more serious things or more adult like things. I feel like she's not very respected. She's not a terrible actor, but again, she played the role well, but she wasn't fit for the role. And I think that goes for a lot of actors that are pretty big but don't really hit in a film when their performance really doesn't, you don't see their best performance. But the other characters, I mean, they were just minor characters. Probably fresh out of like some kind of NYC like film school or something. One of them actually was like the other main character, the love interest. But yeah, I expected the acting to be worse, but again, it was still very cringe. Yeah, this is one of the other antagonists who turns out to be good all along. He looks like Greta Thunberg. I don't know. The whole time I was watching it, I just kept getting flashbacks. But oh yeah, these are supposed to be the nerds in the film. And these two characters actually had a pretty good gag because throughout the movie, this was the only part I actually found pretty funny. I was surprised that this was in there. Like throughout the film, these two were fraternal twins, and they were trying to find who Radio Rebel was. So really, every like 20 minutes through in the film, like there's a shot of them, in the garbage can, like that cliche shot of them poking their heads out of garbage cans and with binoculars, or them in, hot dog costumes or something, trying to find out who Radio Rebel is. And I thought that was kind of funny. And there was one part where they were trying to pitch down the voice of the podcast to see who it was. And I thought that was pretty funny too. Also, they would be swimming. They would be swimming. They're not nerds, dude. They would be flooded with girls. Anyways, this is the sidekick, and I also feel like she just reminded me of Denise Kumar. I thought that I would include that. So the holes in the plot. Again, so her parents, Radio Rebel's parents, didn't know that she was Radio Rebel until like 20 minutes into the film. And she had like a whole setup in her room, so you would think that her parents would know. Her friend didn't even know, like her best friend. I mean, I don't, like, what else, why else would she have microphones in her room? Yeah, there was an older audience that was listening into Radio Rebel, so this was more than just her school. And so there was her parents were listening in. There was an older audience. There was alumni listening to the podcast. And there was no, like, the content of the podcast was not anything appealing to that older generation. Like, it was just like, be yourself. Have a dance party at 8 a.m. in the morning. You wouldn't expect an older 50-year-old man to listen into that kind of stuff. So it's nothing really, and even that kind of stuff wouldn't really appeal to the typical high schooler. But again, I understand. I mean, it was made in 2012. The dialogue was really bad. This is really the part where I had to like pause the film and get up and like take a breather. The dialogue was terrible. Like for example, this is from the antagonist Stacy, Royal Shyness. This is from the best friend to Radio Rebel telling her to talk to her crush. You've liked him since the last Harry Potter movie. I don't know what that means. I really don't know what that means. Again, it's brill, meaning it's brilliant. I feel like they're trying way too hard to make catchphrases stick, but it just came off as cringe. And in a lot of the film, again, the content of the podcast is supposed to draw the attention in of multiple different age groups, and a lot of it was fake deep. And according to the Urban Dictionary, fake deep is a description equivalent to an overt person. They appear smart, educated, or woke upon first impression, but the underlying meaning of their words contradict intent, right? Nothing that Radio Rebel said makes sense to me. Here's a line. People are hearing me, but they're not really hearing me. I don't understand. I don't understand. The principal, there's this one scene where the principal's like, if I don't find out who Radio Rebel is or whatever, I'm gonna shut down prom. And then Radio Rebel gets up there and she's like, okay, well, I'm anti-prom. I'm gonna make Morp, which is the opposite of prom. You're still dressing up. I don't know. I guess that kind of makes sense, but I just hate a lot of things. Overall, the movie was pretty cringy. It had some good shots. It had some good vertigo shots. It was very cliche. The plot was very cliche at the end, with Radio Rebel gets elected prom queen, and she shows herself. And then when she shows herself, she gets elected Morp queen, anti-prom, sorry. She shows herself and everyone starts cheering, and then the principal comes and it's just like, and she says that she's gonna expel her. And then the audience starts chanting, I'm Radio Rebel. And so the whole thing is, how can the principal expel Radio Rebel when the whole audience is Radio Rebel? But she knew, Radio Rebel walked out on the stage and got the prom gift or whatever. And I don't know. And then here are some scenes that I guess that's my project, but here's a few bonus scenes that I thought were extra bad. I have them written down. Sorry, Gotti. I know you want to get back. There was a few really weird shots. Whoops. For example,
I'm afraid of hyenas. I'm afraid to show people the real me.
yeah, I don't understand what that shot was. I don't know why they had to zoom out 17 times. But I guess, I don't know. And then at 5202. This was a really bad.
Dream crusher. Dream crusher. Do you know how many dreams you crushed? You're a dream crusher. Ruined everything.
Again, I really thought that was really bad editing. Just a bunch of cross dissolves or what is it, Gaussian blur. And then this is just, aside from that, I had my own list of of how this movie aged well. Because when you make a film, you don't want to just have it be hot for, that year or, 2 years after, and then that's it. You want it to stand the test of time. So here's a list that I made that really didn't make this movie stand the test of time. First of all, there were elevators, and this is just me trying to nitpick or hate this movie. So there were elevators in the school. That was, obviously, people don't take elevators. There were, Radio Rebel has this thing where, like, she tells people to wear a certain color to school and everyone wears it. No one would do that. No one would do that. Like, I wish they were to make Radio Rebel a loser who's trying to build her way up to having a big following. I feel like that would have more layers, I want an onion. They're giving me, like, celery. I don't want celery. Let's see. The lockers, yeah, they had lockers, but I guess lockers were cool. Well, a few things I did like. I'll give it some points. There are a few nice vertigos. I'm a sucker for a good vertigo. Again, that gag with the two twins, that was pretty funny. The father in this film is very handsome. At 1:15, they have a pretty good shot there at 1:15. Let's see.
But I do know that there will be people out there who try and take things away from us. Things bigger than prom. And we can just...
I don't know. I just thought that was pretty cool. I've never seen that been done before. So, yeah, that's probably it. Overall, I probably would have really liked this movie if I was like 10, which I am. But this movie, I think, is obviously not a cinematic masterpiece. I wish it, again, was a girl that started out from not having a following and then made it to the end. It was a very cliche plot with prom and everything, but yeah, that's my review.